Please welcome Jordan and Harley of the Rizzle Kicks.
Someone said to avoid the wires. Hello.
We built a special home for you.
Mate, this is sick.
Does this look familiar to you?
What a throne!
These are actually thrones from the Lost Generation music video.
Yeah, that was like Big Brother. Big Brother used to have a throne.
Yeah?
But they've changed it. They had to adapt every series.
Oh, that's how it goes.
I think, frankly, the first one was the best.
You're also completely in charge because I'm a lot lower.
Sorry. Yeah, your chest
sucks.
sucks.
That's okay. You are just
your chest probably sucks.
It does.
Sorry about that. I had no choice in the matter. I'm very happy that turned out.
Okay, so I'm so glad you guys are here today. I'd love to talk about your current projects and the album and songs on the album. But to give people a little bit of reference, I'd like to just go back to how you got started for a few minutes.
Okay.
So I think everybody knows the story that you kind of knew each other, your family members knew each other.
Yes.
And then you reconnected in Brit School in Brighton, right?
Well, yeah, we both moved to Brighton at the same time. And then we both going to secondary school, and I ended up becoming friends with Harley's friendship group because everyone at my school realised I was a weirdo. So I had to try and make friends with people from other schools. And then that's when we
didn't last long.
Didn't last long. Weren't really mates. And then both went to Brit School. And then we were 2 of 5 travelling from Brighton every day. And then so when I was making music by myself and I heard a song by The Street. Actually, no, the song by The Flow was. I don't know if anyone remembers The Flow was. There's like handlebars there. I can ride my bike with no handlebars. There's a song on their album and the singer sings the end of the lines, and I was like, wow, that's cool. And I knew Harley could sing it, so that was.
That's how that is. So it was sort of by chance, and because you really connected. You bonded over music, and you sort of wanted the same thing. How did that work? Was it just sort of experimental in the beginning and you were just trying things out? Like at what point did you realize, hey, we can be a band, we can do something?
It wasn't because it wasn't like supposed to be the thing, was it?
No, it was kind of, at the start it was just kind of like Jordan invited me down. It was not like a favour, but like I really liked what Jordan did, and he had this idea of like kind of singing a few bits and bobs, just kind of as a voice. And then only people kind of in our friendship group or whatever thought it was quite interesting, and then from there.
Yeah, basically, I was making music for like a few years, and like only when we made the songs with Harley, and the Mitch were like, "That's really good." It was like a backhanded compliment. So I was like, "I've been doing that music by myself like 2 years. You've never said that." So it just seemed like a natural. We didn't even. It just worked. We were very lucky. It just worked out. We weren't thinking, oh, there's no other singers and rappers in the charts or anything like that. I don't even remember paying attention to the charts back then. I was just like, I don't know. And so when we started making videos and stuff, it just we got chemistry and like it works.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because you studied media and you studied theater, so becoming a musician, was that something that you really wanted, or?
Just fun.
For me personally, yeah, it was just kind of a hobby. When I was 13, 14, I used to rap myself. And
what was your name then?
No, do share.
No.
Come on, 2 words, just drop it.
Alright. Picture me.
Just say the name.
I'm 14, 13. And I'm angry.
The crew was called Tiger Troops.
I'm angry.
Listen, the crew was called Tiger Troops.
Wait.
This included Mad Hatter.
Yeah,
Shrapnel. What other ones are there? One, Nas used to call himself Nas. I was like, you already take us a huge amount. What was your name? Just say it.
Okay, I was angry. At the time I made the name.
I wasn't angry, I've always been Rizzle. What were you?
Okay, something like Knife.
His name was Knife Edge, everybody. Classic.
You were the Green Rizzler.
I was the Green Rizzler. I sound like a Batman villain. Green Rizzler. No, it was from Green Rizzler Papers, yeah, but it was nothing to do. I did not choose Rizzle as a name. I wouldn't have voluntarily, as a rapper, chosen something that sounds like the end of a Snoop Dogg sentence. That just happened. I was playing at a football school, and there's a crew at my school called the Green Rizzler Crew, like 4 years above me. Some kid who was like, you're in the Green Rizzler crew. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And just because it annoyed me, he called me Green Rizzler. And then like, you know, a year later, my name's just Rizzle. I had no choice in the matter, so I had kicks to kind of, you know, take it away.
Yeah.
But one time my mum called me Rizzle. That was weird. Not feeling that.
So going back to sort of your musical inspirations, what is your first musical memory?
I went to buy some Pokemon cards, and they were selling Big Willie style and Eminem My Name Is in cassette, and I just got a Fisher Price tape machine from a car boot sale that came with wheels on the bus, and I was like, cassettes? I have a cassette player. So I just sat there like 6 or 7 listening to My Name Is. Not know what hell was going on, but I liked rap. That's all I can remember.
How about for you?
One of my first musical memories would be WOMAD Festival. My stepdad is in kind of working for a record label, did a lot of world music, so a lot of his artists would play at this festival, so we had like, it was like at this age, I thought I was like, that's so cool, we could backstage and stuff, but all I wanted to do was get henna tattoos. And I don't think I really cared that much about music. I just remember being really angry when my mum said, no, it won't show up on your skin. I was like, it will.
It won't show up in your skin.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
We used to go to work together. That's another connection. I forgot about that. I was really annoyed because my auntie tried to make me wear flip-flops without socks.
That's a good look.
Yeah, the socks and flip-flops, awesome.
So you started working together, you started posting a lot of videos on YouTube, that was noticed by a record label, you got signed, released the first album, which is an incredible success. Congrats for that.
Thank you.
And then let's talk about the new project.
Yeah.
You had to start work on the second album. Did you feel any pressure?
No, not really. Oh, wait. We felt pressure recently because it was like, it's actually getting released. Like it has to do kind of well. Because we have an expectation. But I think in terms of creatively, I don't think we felt any pressure because it happened so quickly. The turnover from like 20 of our mates in a like tiny little bar in Brighton to like, you know, like much bigger gigs, top 10 artists. And it happened so quickly. We made the first album, we loved it. It was almost like it was just impulsive, you know. We were just all right, let's make this. We were still excited that we were in a studio with a producer. Like before that, we had to buy beats off. We didn't have to buy them. Sometimes you got them for free if you're really nice to them. But like hip hop producers, you know, how it worked is they've got to earn their money. And in Brighton, the whole thing was they either rent out their studio, which used to pay like £15 an hour, or you buy a beat off them. Like the beat to Down with the Trumpets I bought for £50 in Whitechapel. I think it was 15. I worked out alright. but that was the method. So we were so excited we'd go to a studio with a producer and like a label were paying for it, man. And we could actually make a beat from scratch. We could be like, this is what we want to sound like.
Yeah.
So so the first album was a reflection of our excitement of being given an opportunity, basically.
Yeah.
So the second album was like, deep breath, you know, let's approach this. I think we were a lot more calculated. We gained a great understanding of ourselves, having to be thrown into like such a scary scenario.
Yeah.
And you know, we just grew up. 20 to 21 is a big year, especially when you're in a public eye and that.
Yeah.
And I think it was reflected musically and conceptually. We had fun. I love making this album.
It seems that you focus a lot more on the lyrics. I mean, you still have the party songs. Now, what's interesting, all of the songs are still upbeat songs.
Yeah.
But what I find so clever is that there's a message there. You know, there's two sides to your music, which is very deliberate this time around.
Yeah, I think.
I'm getting better. I feel I'm just getting better at rapping. And,
I think just the ideas are getting stronger. I think with the first single of this album, Lost Generation, we definitely purposely wanted the first single to be really kind of saying something and kind of being social commentary, because our last big moment that people kind of saw us for was Mama Do That.
Do the dance.
Just like a dance routine.
Yeah.
So we kind of wanted to come back and be like really saying something quite strong. And I think on the rest of the album, it does. I think the strength of the lyrics is the same standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you get people pick a moment when you're in the like, pop world. So we wanted to have a moment that was lyrics. So at the moment, if someone sees us in the street and they're like, "Mama, do the hump," and they start doing it, they're like, "Yeah, that's it." Yeah. And then like, the new one, it's like everyone's going on about the lyric we've got about John Terry. So now people will say, "Oh, I heard that John Terry lyric, mate." And you always just you need to have that moment, I think. It's like, what's it, where the Tony Temper that, "Would you risk it for a chocolate biscuit?" Genius. Yeah. Everyone knows that, innit? I personally, would I risk it for a chocolate biscuit? I probably wouldn't.
Well, you have a lot of great lines on these albums, and I like to call them Rizzleism, because they're all sort of...
Rizzleism? What a religion? I'd love to be head of a religion. That's awesome.
But I mean...
My way of life is questionable.
A lyric like, for example, in Skip to the Good Bit.
Yeah.
You say, "Feeling happy is how I like killing time."
Yeah, feeling alive is a good way to kill time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I think captures your sentiment, or captures the sentiment of the album so really well. And there's a few other lyrics like that I think are so clever and really you.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's we are positive, like, and I think we just want like people to understand that we're not trying to be like throwaway, or like we're trying to be easy. It's genuinely, that's so real to us that just because we don't talk about like dark things that have happened in our lives or where we come from and stuff, doesn't mean that it hasn't happened. It's just that we have this mindset. I think this is where we connected creatively. It's just a genuine positive outlook, and I don't know why people wouldn't want to have that shared, you know. So with lyrics like that, "Feeling alive is a good way to kill time," yeah, it's just. Someone described us on Twitter as sunshine rap the other day. I really like that because it is that kind of. Yeah. If we were to have a religion, the first rule would just be like smile. Smiling's good.
Well, it brings me to another point which I think is really interesting about your music, is that it seems effortless and easy, but it's not. Because if you really listen to the production, it's so layered and it's so well produced.
Yeah.
And it's so well written. But I mean, that sort of your image is to be easy and casual and fun. That sometimes I think people may forget how much work goes into creating songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I mean, tell me about how do you work in the studio, because you have a really distinct sound.
Yeah.
Whether there's horns in it or whatever, you have a really distinct sound.
I think that's Brighton.
Yeah.
Well, firstly, I think a lot of music we kind of, when we were quite young, living in Brighton, there's an amazing hip hop scene, which used a lot of, there was a lot of samples and stuff, and the topics that they used to talk about in their rap weren't like kind of, they used to just be really interesting and creative and mad, and that's kind of what we grew up listening to. And then with the production, I think we've got such huge kind of eclectic music taste that we like to draw in loads of, because I love jazz and I love rock, and so I pull on loads of those strings, and so yeah, it kind of merges into one thing that we don't really think about. It just happens.
Yeah. I think it's music for the iPod generation. I don't think people are thinking in albums anymore. They think like in playlists.
Yeah.
They just, put together what their moods.
I'd love for it to be an album generation, though, because it's almost cliche now. An artist are like, "I'm looking to make a product." No, what do they say?
Piece of work.
It's like I'm making a good body of work. But when you make an album, you want to make a coherent album. I think that's another thing we've done well this time around. Is it's a little more coherent, like it strings together.
Yeah.
I can't figure out why we like trumpets so much, though. Is that like? I was thinking about this the other day, like what? Because I just really love the sound of trumpets.
Are you into jazz? Are you
No,
a jazz fan?
Oh yeah, I love jazz. I was thinking, even when I was growing up, I used to listen to. Are you a fan of Beck? So like, the album that I played the most was Midnight Vultures, which I think was one after Odenay. And my favourite song was Sex Laws. It's like dun 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 dun. I think maybe it was just being played so many trumpets that you just think it's the norm. I want to just fully bring that back. I love trumpets.
Yeah.
You like trumpets? I love trumpets.
You are bringing it back.
Bring on the trumpets.
So how does that work in the studio? So you sit down and you're going to be like, okay, we're going to make a song. Like, how does your process work? Because the production is so intricate,
yeah.
You have such a strong vision. I'm curious how it works between the two of you.
Well, our kind of, with the music kind of things, music side of things, that our producer and Whiting has just a whole huge bank of samples that he's collated over years and years and years, and we go through them and kind of, this is one way that we write songs. Just
don't say any specific examples.
Don't worry, man. And we hear sounds that we just really love, and we hear sounds that kind of remind us of certain scenarios maybe, and we just build upon those samples, or sometimes we'll come in with an idea of a lyric, and we'll work the lyric into the music, and then sometimes I'll come with guitar and have, it's just, we never really stick to one kind of method, it just works.
One thing that's super cool creatively, which happened a lot on the first album and on this one, is the whole thing of you hear like a loop, a musical loop, and like something just jumps out at you. That's what it is, just like you're vibing and then you say something and then you're building up this whole scenario around maybe one word that's leapt out from. I remember we were making a song called Learn My Lesson, and the only reason that even came about was because the beat for some reason just like reminded us of like a chalkboard. I don't know why that was. Dum, 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 dum. Yeah. And so, yeah, you end up writing.
Was there one song on the album that came particularly fast, and maybe another one that was a tough one to finish?
For this album?
Yeah,
Tough one to finish?
Yeah.
Lost Generation?
Lost Generation was...
That was the last song we made.
Tough.
What was tough?
Well, firstly, I thought up the chorus without any music. Like, so I kind of went, and I kind of went into the studio going like, Lost Generation. And I'm like, what? and then we ended up putting in there, I've got my heart. And so we were actually working from like this whole thing that had been written, and then trying to find a bed for it. It was only when we played again a beat that I tried to get from this guy called Pete Cannon, who used to be called Mr. Dick, that's actually his name, as a producer, because he didn't take himself seriously until he realised he was like a phenomenal producer. He's from Manchester. When I was 15 again, I was doing a lot when I was 15. I was trying to get this beat off him. I wanted it, track 3 had it, I wanted that beat. And I just, for some reason, was sitting in the studio and just played it, and it just worked with what we'd already started building, and we just put the two together. Yeah. But there was like a huge like 3-hour lull where we were like, this song's not really going anywhere. Yeah. But it's probably one of my favourites of the album. Glad. So if anything, it's a sign of what we're capable of in the third, maybe.
Oh wow, okay.
There's one song on the album which is what I love the idea behind of picking up on songs, because there's one song on the album's third track, it's called The Reason I Live, and we wrote that when we were
before the first album.
Yeah. And then kind of like we always used to love it, but then it just I don't know where it went in the first album, but then second album we just remembered the song.
And we met Jamie.
Yeah, we met Jamie. Jamie Cullum, who was on the song,
Yeah.
and thought he's an amazing pianist. And we met him and we got along. We had a mutual love for hip hop, and then he just came in and just.
He's so
sick. Piano is like nothing you've ever experienced. I tell you now, it's really amazing.
Stand up and plays it, beatboxes and plays it. Yeah. Anything you want, he'll do it whilst playing piano.
It's really like I thought I was quite a good like guitarist, and then I'd like look at him and he's just going.
He's actually amazing.
Yeah, and so that song we wrote that like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Now it's got like really means something to us, because it's now like on our second like proper album.
Yeah. So what we haven't touched upon yet, which is I think really important, is sort of the meaning behind Roaring Twenties, and you've compared.
Can I say? I just remembered something, right? When you were talking about like people's perception of us like it being easy or something like that, I've got an analogy that kind of maybe figures out like, the difference between us and maybe other hip hop artists or maybe even other pop acts, right? So these trainers I've got on are really mucky right now, yeah. And rappers, especially the white trainers, they've always got really clean trainers, and I don't understand. It's on telly as well, isn't it? They're always like, Jordan, wear clean trainers. I don't understand why you have clean trainers, because you do things. Like, you go around, you do things, innit? You walk through grass, you might spill a bit of wine on your shoe. Like, something's happened. In my eyes, if I've got messy trainers, it just means I've actually just done something. Yeah. I'm just like, I feel, if you're put on like a box fresh pair of shoes, like what have you done in the daytime? Where is the evidence of you haven't done anything other than be like escorted to somewhere? I just think I personally don't feel I have to present myself to anyone other than me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think, and it shows sometimes that people are like, oh, they need to understand though that I can get like box fresh trainers. Like they need to understand that I can get new trainers all the time. I just don't really get. I don't understand that.
But how does that compare then to maybe some people perceiving?
Well, this is the thing. So now we'll be on like a television show, and we're wearing like a crumpled t-shirt or something, and people are just like, how Rizzle Kit's gonna like have like a big album and like dress like